crazy Monday all around. Stream went down. Nothing is. I hope this is not indicative of the rest of my Monday. I hope it's not just going to be everything else goes bad today too. Bad start. Sorry. I think all the bad is just going to happen right now. Anyway, so my kid was up at like 1 o'clock. Changed their diaper, got them back in bed, and then they woke up. Like, I don't think they even really went back to sleep, but like 20 minutes later, they were back up. And this time they were back up, they were complaining that their tummy hurt. And so it's, of course, I knew they were hungry because they didn't eat their dinner. So I take them to the living room, and they ate a piece of bread. Offered them other stuff. Bread was what they wanted. So they ate the bread, and then went back to sleep. But that was like another, 30 minutes awake. I think by the time we got to sleep again, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's hard to fall asleep when your kid is sick. At least for me, I tend to listen to them breathe for a while and fret over their breathing, especially when they have a cold and they're congested. And they're babies. I was always super worried about their breathing when we brought them home. I brought them home from the hospital. I would always get stressed out in the middle of the night and throughout the night and have to get up and go check and make sure that they were breathing. And they were. I'm, I'm sure it was annoying to the baby cells. Alright, we're going to be going to the 40-pound dumbbells. Alright. What's annoying is my kids get me sick. And one of my kids had pink eye like a week and a half ago. And then they gave it to my other kid. And then my wife got it. I was really sure I dodged the bullet. And then I got it for like a day. Mine was never like as bad as theirs. So I semi dodged it, but I was really hoping I would completely dodge it. It keeps happening that way though. My kids will get sick, my wife will get sick, and then my body will just fight it off for a long time and like for one day I'll be sick. And then it'll be fine. I've had like a lingering cold though for like a week, but that's fine. It's easy to go through the cold. Probably working out in this frigid gym in the morning doesn't help me, but that's 8. I was really hoping to do 10, but I'm trying to do better with my form. Um, so starting this week and then going into next month, we're starting to focus a lot more on weight loss. Kind of not really lost any weight in the last couple of months, and I still want to be down another 20 to maybe 25 to 30 pounds by the end of the year. So I need to start getting a little bit more focused on that. I'm not super stressed about it, but definitely want to be lighter when I roll into next Wednesday. Or not next Wednesday, next winter. Like to enter the summer below 180. What's up, Bowser? Morning. I got a super late start this morning. I woke up at 5:30 instead of 4:30. I don't know, my alarm didn't wake me up, or I shut it off, or something. So getting started super late. Hope you're having a good Monday, Bowser. Normally, I'm done with the 40s. All right, done with the 40s. Gonna go down to 30s. Thank you, Bowser. All right, 17 minutes left, or actually 15 minutes. Had a lot of dreams last night. Dreamed somehow I'd become I think a congressman, and that was really weird. It was a lot like the movie Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy. It's a really funny movie where Eddie Murphy is a con man, but he becomes a either a senator or a congressman. It was a pretty funny movie. I don't think I would have a very good run as a politician. I am very I I would not do well. I would be one of the people that would be just for common sense, reasonable, middle of the road, and they would probably try to make me look like I was crazy. So I wouldn't want to capitulate to the powers that be. I would just want things to make sense. When I was young, I read Les Miserables, and in that book, there's a part where I think it's in that book, but there's a part where they talk about there's a window tax that the French had back in the day, and that you had to pay extra taxes for air if you had more windows. And I thought that was crazy at the time. I was like, that's nuts that you have to pay a window tax, an air tax. And what a corrupt government France had back in the day to make that a thing. And I realized recently, because I own a house, that if I want to put a window on my house. I like skylights. I think skylights are a great idea because you can use less electricity during the day to light a room. But I realized that if you get a skylight put in your house, you have to go get approval from the city to put in the skylight. You have to pay the inspector. You have to pay the inspector afterwards to make sure that it was done right. And then, after you've paid the inspectors, after you've paid to have it done, they can reevaluate your house based off of the modification and then charge you more in taxes because you increase the value of your house by having a skylight. So essentially, it's not that different from France during the time in which Les Miserables was written. And I always thought we were so much more better off than the French. And I'm talking about France in the 1800s, 1700s. Thought we were better off, but apparently we're not. We're just as you know over have as much overtaxation as possible. The fact that you can't do a simple thing on your house, like put a skylight in, without paying so much money to the government is insane. I watched this older guy about have a conniption because his house was getting inspected. I don't remember why, but he had owned this house since the 80s, and one of the windows had to be replaced. So he did it himself, and for some reason, they were upset because they're like, you should have had an inspector come out and look at these windows and sign off on replacing them. And I think it's because when he put in a new part, it was a little bit smaller, but they were upset that he hadn't gotten their approval. And he's like, I've been building houses, new construction, my whole life. This guy had another house that he built from the ground up himself. He's like, I know how to change a window. I don't need the government to sign off on it and to evaluate my work. And it just wasn't, he had to pay like a small fine, which is ridiculous. But that's how silly California government is. I was working a job once for a company, um, and they were redoing an office space for themselves for the actual construction company, and um, they put the fire alarm at the wrong height on the stud. The wrong height to the wrong stud. Studs were so near together that it would have taken just unscrewing it and moving it over and screwing it back in less than less than 10 minutes of work. And the owner of the company was arguing with the inspector, like, "Hey, we can just move it real fast and it'll be fine." It's like, "Nope, I'll be back in like 2 weeks." He's like, but yeah, you just got here. Like, it's gonna be easy to fix. You can inspect the rest of the building. By the time you're done inspecting the rest of the building, this will be fixed. This is a small problem." And the guy was like, "Nope, 2 weeks. I'll be back in 2 weeks. You guys failed your inspection." And it's just insane. Not all building inspectors are that way. Some will let you fix it quickly. But this one was very no. And you can't argue with them. No, what was silly too is this. I know it was originally a house. It was a small house. I bet you it was less than 600 square feet because it was like a brand new unit conversion into an office. You never would have had a fire alarm in there if it wasn't a being used as an office. Everyone, there's only 3 rooms to the whole setup. Four, I think. I think there was like a smaller or bigger size closet area room in the back. But either way, everybody would have been able to figure out how to get out had there actually been a fire. The fire alarm was superfluous. There was no, you could just yell fire, like, and everyone would have heard you. But it didn't matter because it was being used for work. You had to have a fire alarm, and it had to be 15 inches this way versus 15 inches that way. As though anyone entering the building or anyone that worked there couldn't have figured out that it was just 15 inches further away from the doorway. I got one more set. I gotta go. Oh, this was a super quick one today. I'm gonna probably have to sneak out here later when the kids are napping because this is just not gonna cut it. It's been a heck of a Monday. I woke up late, an hour late, so this had to be quick. But thank you guys for coming. I hope your Monday is getting off to a better start than mine did. God bless you and have a good week.